Ladies and gentlemen, this is Red Pill Tamales. I am your host, Chingo Bling with the big tamarindo, the ghetto vaquero, el rey, the four-plated tamale, kingpin, the masa messiah, the one you got your style from. I'm going to have to drop a mixtape every Father's Day so this generation of young rappers could kind of peep where the drip originated from. We have DJ, producer, Big Rob.
Okay, we're going to need that energy every time you get on the podcast, but you do bring it, but...
I'm going to keep this energy level the entire time, my brother.
That's on that T-Pain level. Have you seen his intros to his Twitch streams?
No.
I'm going to pull it up later on the show when we're just riffing about stuff, because it keeps going viral like every couple of weeks, every couple of months. It's like the best intro to a Twitch channel ever, and it's just T-Pain, and I'll show it to you. And this is what he does every time, apparently.
Well, I got to get on Twitch.
Or anywhere else. I got some fun facts about Rumble and other platforms, but let the people know where you're going to be at,
Yeah,
Chingo.
actually, man, let me get my tour dates together. Shout out to everybody came out to Zany's in Chicago. We were in Old Town, Chicago. And you know what, man? Chicago's safer than Houston. So
officially, right?
Yeah, it's officially safer than Houston. So we felt great. And that neighborhood where we were, Old Town, you had the ACLU, young purple-haired kids out there saying, hey... we had our luggage because we had just got the key to the condo from the comedy club, and they were walking us over to the comedy club condo, and they're out there in front of Potbelly sandwiches.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, we're here fighting for reproductive rights. Would you like to sign up and help the ACLU? I said, reproductive rights. I said, that's a slick way of saying baby murder. And then I walked past them with my luggage, and they were like, okay, all right. That's why I don't have any Republican friends. I'm headed to Brea, California, back to SoCal. Brea, California, September 14th. Get your tickets now, chingobling.com. After that, Oxnard. That's right, big bad Oxnard, top of the food chain. I will see you guys September 15th. That's going to be a nice little SoCal run. After that, we head back to Austin, Texas, to September 28th. September 28th, Austin. Get your tickets. I will be at Cap City Comedy Club. Finally, it's been so many delays and pushbacks and trying to get in there, but Austin, Texas, I'll see you September 28th. San Antonio, an entire weekend. Yes. September 29th through October 2nd. Don't forget Salt Lake City, October 7th. After that, the 7-0 True. Las Vegas, Nevada. Will never be the same after the Thea Gathering weekend. Stand back and stand by. We will see you at Zany's Comedy Club. The itinerary's coming together. Shout out to...
It's just never going to get posted.
Well, because I don't know exactly. I guess it needs to be kind of like a loose schedule of options of what people want to, join in.
Yeah, here are the options. We're in Vegas. Do what you want to at the show.
I mean, we're down to do more than that. Like people mentioned Top Golf. People asking what hotel we're going to stay at. So Zany's Comedy Club is closer to the Fremont, Old Vegas, like where the locals hang out.
Okay.
By the Golden Nugget and, over there's a lot of artsy shit and coffee shops. That's the area where we're going to be. We're not going to be on the Strip. If you want to stay on the Strip, that's on you. All right, we're not gonna be over there by the Strip, so don't be like, "Oh man, I gotta get to Top Golf," and y'all ain't telling me y'all was doing brunch and where the stogies and what we sipping on. So itinerary's coming soon. We end the tour Addison, Texas, at the Addison Improv, November 4th through the 6th. I'm working on a bunch of new material. I'm gonna be filming my new stuff this year. I'm gonna be releasing some old stuff, just some old jokes, probably before the pandemic, some stuff we filmed. So that'll be coming soon. Be on the lookout. Maybe something exclusive for the patrons.
Badass.
Maybe they get a copy first. That's probably what we should do.
Yeah.
And that'll give me the incentive to hurry up and wrap it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for that, you think? Like before the end of the year?
Yeah, God willing.
Yeah.
God willing, hopefully. I don't even know if that makes the most sense, only because it's like, you only got a few tour dates left. What's the point of hyping up a bunch of stand-up clips? But hey, it'll be good content. I don't want it to get too old, too stale. And we just have a lot of projects, but that's one that's like 90% done.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about the special thing? So there's a lot of new specials out. Tim Dillon got one on Netflix. Chris Stefano's got one.
Mo Amer. Shout out to Mo Amer.
He has a Netflix special
Boy,
too?
he's got 2 shows on Netflix right now. Well, He's got a series and his stand-up.
Real, a new one?
The stand-up is fire.
Dude, okay, so Mo, you got Chris Stefano, podcast alumni, Tim Dillon, Callan's just dropped yesterday on his YouTube channel. He went the YouTube route. So there's a bunch of new comedy out. Paul Verzi, if you're a New York fan of New York comics, he's fantastic.
Of course, you still got Mark Norman, Shane Gillis.
Yep. So there's a ton of stuff. Have you seen anything by chance? Like, because I know you're so crunched on time, but have you seen anybody's new like material from
I started watching Moe's.
the show or the
both?
Yeah, is it good?
Great,
Dude, he's such a good storyteller.
excellent. I mean, it looked like he was having so much fun up there.
Yeah.
Like he was doing this little callback. It was just a really good taping. I don't know how many shows he did to film for his special, but it just seems so loose and so fun. I can't wait to finish it. And I got to text him, give him props.
So Tripoli had mentioned how he, they were talking about on Conspiracy Social Club. He helped Brian like get the production crew for his show. I didn't know this, and I'm sure obviously you do, and maybe you don't have to say, but there's like a round number of what the average special costs to shoot for Netflix. Do you know what that?
For Netflix?
Yeah.
Man, maybe like 50 grand, maybe
250 grand is what the number is. So the people that Tripoli put Callan in touch with created a $250,000 production value on nowhere of near that kind of a price tag for the YouTube platform. And I was like, holy,
have you seen it?
It's fantastic.
Oh, it looks great too?
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I'm 20 minutes in. I was watching it as I was kind of doing some research and stuff. It's so good. It's kind of hard because Brian, and like you're so animated. Like you do act out a lot of things, so you want to watch it as you're hearing the jokes. But it's so good. The motherfucker's 55 and he's killing it.
That's what's up. Okay, where did he film it? I can't wait to watch it.
One of the improvs. I think Brea.
Okay.
So I think it's a smaller-ish room, or is that a big room?
Brea's kind of big. Yeah, that's where I'm headed to. So shout out to Chicago, man. It was Labor Day weekend when we were flying back, and like all the old block, the whole Chi, like it was all the party people from Chicago was on our plane. And I'm just looking like, are y'all coming to our city to just turn up, have a good time? Like, how many of y'all gonna be out here trying to pimp something? You know what I mean? Who's hustling? Who's scamming? Like, when we landed, I told my son, because it was just so much traffic and like a lot of people were in the city. And it was rainy. Like my boy was in town from DC. I went and dropped off a little care package. You know what it is. Which I got caught up in that Bad Bunny traffic, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh yeah, he was in town, huh?
Boy, that boy did the Minute Maid where the Astros play.
Yeah.
2 days. The stadium twice. So they made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
All the Latino dollar was shoved into that stadium, into Bad Bunny's pocket.
Wow.
After he kissed a boy on stage on MTV.
You should make the parody. I kissed a boy and I like it.
Get Bad Bunny, baby. Anyway, and it tastes like, what is it, chapstick?
Is that what he said?
Cherry, no, the song.
Oh, the song, yeah, cherry chapstick. Yeah, you should.
Y sabía como chapstick, baby.
With some cameos.
Chapstick de cereza.
With some cameos of Canelo in his blue car in the background.
Canelo in his Bugatti, a shadow boxing in the background.
Blue.
Is that the boy kissing the video? All right, y'all. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, man, there's so much. I want to start with Dark Brandon trends on Twitter after his famous, now probably will go down in history as one of the, if not the most famous speech, but not for the good reasons. Exactly.
The problem is democracy.
Yes.
As long as he said democracy about 58 times, he feels like, oh, that wasn't divisive at all. I was letting people know that
he sounded like a baby trying to talk. Yes,
there's just so much to deconstruct. Like, part of me was like, yo, we need to just go line for line on this man's speech and just be like, okay, what are you leaving out? Or what are you saying? Or what's false? You know?
But before you even go line by line on the speech, you should go line by line on the bullet points he hit. Did you see those tweets from like Charlie Kirk and a couple other people that were like...
I saw a list of like, how many times he mentioned the CCP? 0. Iran, 0. Russia, 0. Inflation, 0. Border, 0. Fentanyl, 0. MAGA, 55. Trump, a million.
Yeah. And that's why, like, there's so many famous speeches from, like, and what people were kind of comparing it to is, like, wartime speeches and, like, just different times of the United States history. Mm-hmm. This is, like, the most divisive speech for no reason ever. And it wasn't even like a speech. It was more like a campaign, like, rally kind of thing.
Really what it was, this is what it comes down to, y'all. And I would love to meet a lefty or a Democrat or somebody that just kind of, like, raza that don't really pay attention and they just whatever. Was anybody inspired? Did anybody like the speech? Did anybody think it was tight? Like, oh, I like that he had the background red and he was clenched. It was neck veiny. He had his neck vein sticking out and he was, like I would like to just kind of pick their brain. Like, well, what spoke to you? What part did you like? You know, what made sense? And in essence, bro, it's like this whole midterm and 2024 is going to be a referendum on their shitty job. Like the economic policies are inflationary. Like they're not addressing the real threats. Like what's up with the amount? If you look at the amount of fentanyl deaths, if you look how the CCP is funneling fentanyl through with the cartels up through the border, like the numbers, like 4.9 million, you know, undocumented, illegal, whatever you want to call these folk, right? How many gotaways? How many of those people are jihadists? How many of those people actually are rapists, etc.? It's a referendum. It's going to be a referendum on the Democrats and their shitty woke policies.
Yeah,
but they're trying to flip it. They want to turn it around. They want to turn it around and be like, no, this is a MAGA extremist, and they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in the rule of law. When y'all lose, y'all need to accept it and don't be trying to run up in the Capitol. And it's like, how many times did Stacey Abrams, I almost said Stacey Adams, Stacey Abrams, Hillary to this day, oh, it was stolen from me. I should have got it just cause. So many Democrats you could pull up. Like, for example, Carrie Lake. Did you see her roast the reporter?
so funny.
That was a great clip. And when she shut him down, she even said, like, don't nobody tell, she said, we have freedom of speech. Didn't nobody tell Kamala Harris, hey, you over here complaining about these voting machines, right? Before the, was it 2020? Nobody told her to shut up. Like, nobody told Hillary to be quiet, talking about you an extremist and you a danger to democracy. So they just trying, it's like a primal scream, bro. They just going out and they just trying to flip it and turn it into, you know, America's going down the wrong path because Republicans. And it's like, the Republicans ain't even in charge. And it's like, if you really look at what the average blue collar MAGA person is concerned with, it's like, hey, bro, we just want you to leave it how you found it.
Yeah.
Patch it back up. Put it back how you had it, bro. We trying to be energy dominant and independent. We have enough oil. Increase the supply domestically. Bring down the price of the fuel.
At this point, just put some gum in the hull of the sinking ship. We'll kind of handle it in a couple of years. Like, let's just stop sinking further.
Just stop digging. What are you doing? Stop stemming everybody to death. Stop giving away free shit and promising people stuff.
So you had I made a clip last week from when we were playing Bill Maher and you on Bill Maher show. Remember?
Yes, yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah.
You did a really good job when you were like, okay, so if you're on the show, explain to the people like, well, we got to really talk about Bill, right? Yeah. Here at the top of the public show on Wednesdays, which if you're not a part of the Patreon, you miss out on Thursdays, you miss out on Fridays, and you also miss out on every other Monday lives, which will start again on the 12th or whatever Monday coming up is. I believe is the 12th. It is. If you're new to the show, in my opinion, I was thinking about this on the way here. It's just so easy. Like, obviously, the title of the show is Red Pill Tamales, so you kind of know what you're going into. But it's hosted by a comedian. It's co-hosted by a comedian fan, and I think it's just too easy to make fun of the left right now that you're going to hear a lot of that on this show. It's not that there's not stuff to make fun of on the right. It's just like literally, it's tenfold easier to make it fun of the left these days. Would you agree?
Yeah, because like. It just so happens, I'm not saying everybody that votes Democrat or everybody that identifies on the left is going to be pro-grooming. I don't think necessarily that they're okay with some. I don't even think they're aware of some of these books. Did I send you on that tweet? There's a very disturbing tweet. I forget who posted it. I don't know if I was going to like DM it to y'all, but it's like, I think Jack Posobiec retweeted. It's this book. I forget the title, but it's graphic and it says a lot of stuff on there. It's something that probably Mighty Soul needs to read on her lounge, where it has images. It's telling boys to, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, with an ass load of lube, you could have a great time.
Oh, is that where they talk about like vagina slime or something?
I didn't read that part, but it was saying, no, this was all like play with your booty stuff. It was all like, once the train has left the station, you can now start to apply pressure with a this and a that and make sure that whatever you sticking up there has a base. So, and it says, so your hungry hiney doesn't like swallow it up, then you got to go to the hospital. Like all this stuff. So when people on the left try to say, oh, these Republicans are trying to ban books. Is this one of the books y'all talking about? Like, I'm going to retweet Jack's tweet and I'm going to say, is this one of those books that those crazy MAGA people are trying to ban?
So is this basically a book on just how to get zoo AIDS? AKA Chingo pox?
The viruela del mono?
Yeah.
Are you referring to the viruela del mono?
Yeah, zoo AIDS. That's what we're calling it.
Zoo AIDS,
yeah.
Man, who came up with that, bro?
Dude, Theo Vaughn. He's
Zoo
like,
AIDS, man.
He goes, we got a group chat. He was talking to Nick Swartzen. Hilarious, by the way. Talking to, we got a group chat, people telling me, you got that zoo AIDS yet? Nick Swartzen lost it. He's like, zoo AIDS?
Okay, here's the book. Jack Posobiec retweeted. I'm about to retweet it, and he retweeted. The person was Landon Starbuck, which I believe is Robbie's wife.
Oh, yeah,
Starbuck.
it is.
And she tweets, this book, quote, let's talk about it, that's the name of the book, is in both public libraries and school libraries all over the country in sections for minors where they can get it with no parental consent. In this thread, I'll show you some places carrying it. You can help by searching your school public library. It's graphic. It's talking about like pornography. It says porn, when consumed right, porn can help you discover new aspects of your sexuality and help you safely explore kinks and fantasies. It just goes on and on and on about porn performers. It says, sometimes I worry. I watch too much porn, and the other person is saying, yeah, I know that. But there's nothing to worry with enjoying some porn. It's a fun, sugary treat. Ba, 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 ba. It's very graphic, a lot of images. And over here, this is what it says. After the train has left the station. Look at the graphic, bro. I mean, are you seeing?
Yeah.
After the train has left the station, so to speak, and you've had a chance to wash up and douche back there, you can have an assload of fun with a healthy heaping of lube. Apply broad pressure to the outside of the entrance. Circle your butthole with finger. Pause anytime something feels extra, I don't know. Dip just the tip of your finger inside. Let your something pull it when it's, instead of forcing. And then it says dive deeper with your finger or a butt plug. Just make sure any objects you put up there have a flared base. Otherwise, your hungry hiney can gobble it up, and the only way to get it back out is a trip to the hospital. Make sure to wash your hands before touching any other object, especially parts of something. And it's drawn like for kids. It's like cartoony.
That's disgusting. This comes on the back of, I saw a Vice article yesterday. I want to get back to what you just read, but it's a Vice article that the picture was a chick with a strap on, and the caption of the article, a Vice article. Remember Vice back in the day, man? They were like, pegging, how to tell your girlfriend you're into it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, bro. They're
really trying to push this pooper agenda.
Hey, bro, I don't know. I can't call it, but I definitely want to pivot at some point. Shit, I don't know if now is going to be a hard segue. Have you heard? You sent me the link of Pastor Ed Young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Second Baptist, my pastor. How he got into some hot water. And do you know what he said?
So did you read the article I sent you?
Yes, I read the article. Yup.
I don't know if they like who else wrote up about it or what they wrote, but all I know is, he made some comments about. And the funny thing is, if you're not familiar with it, you can just search up Pastor Ed Young. If you just Google it with tax something, you'll probably find it. They tried to allude that he might run into IRS problems because he was calling out political figures or political parties, but he didn't name people, he didn't name parties, he didn't name organizations. All he said was he was just speaking his facts, and whoever the listener was, you'd have to come to your own conclusions of who he was talking about. But then the mayor of Houston starts tweeting out some shit, and I guess you can take it from here.
Yeah, so that was a great way to set it up. So he did a sermon. We were there, and it was actually...
Oh, you were there?
We were there, but that day it was like they played it via video.
Okay.
So he had done that sermon earlier in the morning. We go to the 11:11. He must have did it at 9:30, and he started talking about separation of church and state and how basically he got to the root of it. He said this is where it started. He said it started with when they created the Anglican Church, where I guess the British king at the time didn't like what the influence the Pope was having. So he said, all right, guess what? We got a new church, bitch. I'm the church, and I'm the motherfucking Pope of the Anglican Church, which is the official church of the UK. So there was a letter written over here in the 13 colonies. I forget the name of the person. Y'all can do y'all's own research. But basically, when that whole term of separation of church and state came up, it was in essence saying we can't let a president or a king say, I'm the church now. You know what I'm saying? Basically, we need to keep the state out of the church. He never said we got to keep the church out of politics, right? Because black churches, they have been very known to be very active, to do a lot of community outreach. They're going to have Sheila Jackson Lee. They're going to have Turner. They're going to have Al Gore, all the Democrats, Biden. It is no secret that the Democrats make sure Hillary, you'll see Hillary up there in Harlem, whoever the little, whoever their little preacher is that they're cool with, you're absolutely going to see the Democrat politicians always, without a doubt. That's how they tap into the black community for the votes. Anyway, Michael Berry, shout out to Michael Berry. I was listening to his podcast and he clipped that part. Now let's listen. Pastor Ed Young, Second Baptist Church, what he was saying that got him in hot water. And I'm going to play it a little bit fast.
Okay.
In all probability,
hold on. Let's go back.
Time we engage and take back our country for our children, and you can do it in the name of faith. This was Pastor Ed Young in Houston, and it has the whole city talking. It's been over 50 years ago when Apollo 13 spoke to Mission Control and said, Houston, we have a problem. I submit to you this morning that Harris County in Houston, Texas, faces the biggest problem we've ever faced in our history. If you think that is not true, or maybe an overstatement, I'm going to state something else for you. Houston, in all probability, right now is the most dangerous city in America to live in. Whoa. In all probability, Houston is one of the 2 or 3 most dangerous cities in the world to live in. Whoa. Those are big statements. Since January of this year through August, 8 months, let me give you statistics that I have checked through several sources of where we are in crime. Listen carefully. Auto theft, 8 months, 10,166 automobiles. Automobile break-ins, 27,245. Burglary of homes, 4,486. Aggravated assaults, 8,866. Kidnapping, 78. Robbery, 4,597. Sexual assault, 487. Murder, 273. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, the murder rate in Houston, Texas is greater than the city of Chicago and certainly New York, right here where we live. What's the cause of this? A lot of things. Delayed justice. There are over 135,000 untried criminal cases right here. There are over 60,000 pending felony cases. There are over 450 untried capital murder cases. And there's some 54,000 new criminal cases entering the pipeline this year, 8 months. There are 182 violent offenders released on bond have murdered someone this year. 182 violent offenders released on bond have already murdered these 8 months, 182 people. Turn back the calendar. Repeat offenders back in 2016, out on bond in Harris County, Houston, there were only 33. See the difference? Today, we have 979 criminals out on bond. You see any difference when you put left-wing progressives in office? And it's a whole scam. Let me tell you how it works. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if the most liberal city in America we think is San Francisco, and they had enough votes to recall an absolutely woke DA, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? Let me tell you. Let me show you a little bit how this works. And I've checked this out with many people. You have a criminal who is caught. And by the way, our administration does not back up very well our sheriffs and our police who are already on the job. They're afraid to be a policeman because they're not backed up by those they answer to. That's one problem. But how this works, you have someone who is caught or tried, and they go before a magistrate who is appointed by the judges. And the magistrate, let's say it's a big criminal case, and sets the bond for $100,000. Generally, bondsmen get about 10% of that, $1,000. But here is a criminal who cannot come up with $1,000, and so therefore the bondsman says, well, come up with something and owe me the rest while you're free. Let's say he came up with $1,000. He owes $9,000. What does that criminal do in order to remain free for an indefinite period of time? He goes and robs and steals again to get the other $9,000 so he gets the bondsman off his case. Corruption, laziness on steroids, and here we go, catch and release. The lack of law enforcement. We have right now, we're looking for already 25,000 suspects, and we have only 12 people in the sheriff's office who are looking for all those suspects of crime. We have 700 unserved warrants for murder. People that have been warranted for murder, and we have 700 of them, and the warrants have not been served. Police is short. It's staffed by over 2,000 officers we need. Leaving accused criminals free to roam and commit more and more crime right here in our town, in our county. What happened to all of our resources for law enforcement? They have been diverted to bicycle trails and other green initiatives.
Watch this.
Rather than salaries for hiring desperately needed new officers. Multiple reports of ambushes on those bicycle trails, street people living on them, ride the trails at your own risk. Now, do you think my opening statement was undersaid? Ladies and gentlemen, if Houston and Harris County is to survive, we had better throw those bums out of office. They are not doing their job that we have called them to.
Celebrating the grown-ass working man.
Shout out Uncle Bear Show.
I mean, call me what you want, bro. Like, if he goes on, bro, like Pastor Young, he backdoored the following week because Sylvester Turner, everybody, what do they say? A hurt dog gonna holler. Mm-hmm. If the shoe fits, wear it. Everybody, all the politicians, right? The Houston Harris County swamp. They were like, oh, Turner, you better watch. I mean, they said, oh, Pastor Young, Second Baptist, you better watch your mouth because y'all get that tax exemption. Y'all want to be a little church, collecting offerings and tithes, and you get all these tax exemptions. You better watch your mouth because separation church and state. Boy, he came back the next Sunday. He said, oh, I didn't know reading some crime statistics was going to ruffle all these feathers. And he started giving more stats. He said, matter of fact, I went and triple checked these numbers. Let me read you some numbers. So if y'all do want to do a deep dive, make sure you follow like the following Sunday, his following thing, because it was off the chain. It was like he got a standing ovation. The first 10 seconds, he comes out and he's just like, I didn't know. You know, I had no idea reading some crime statistics would cause such an uproar. Boy, people stood up because people are tired. They're fed up. They just want to go to work, be left alone, mind their business, pay the goddamn tax man. You know, we already have inflation to deal with. Just uncertainty in the economy, supply chain. You're looking at the cost of goods, the cost of living. We see what's happening in Europe. There's so much to cover. Mm-hmm. There's just a shitstorm. Inflation out the wazoo. Gas price trickles. It goes down a couple cents, and everyone's like, "Oh, at least that's going down." And he's just reading local statistics saying we're headed up Schitt's Creek if we don't start to stand up and go on offense.
Yeah, you can't stand back and stand by anymore. You got to take action,
it's
right?
Time.
It's like he's listening to RPT. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, he went ultra mag on that one. And you know what? There's Democrats that go to the church too. There's a ton of Democrats that go to the church, but everything he's saying is fact. And
he's like reading it from their website. It's like I just pulled it from Harris County, crime statistics.
And that's why, like for example, man, I got a friend. I have a very dear friend who's a lefty Larry, and he was in town visiting. And we met up for coffee, and we just chopping it up. And somehow it came up about like crime, because he mentioned like where his sister lived and and she had noticed like a house that might have looked like some human trafficking. We're just chit chatting, and I pretty much said, I was like, bro, you see this fanny? I was like, it's on me at all times. I was like, I got it right now in the coffee shop. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, oh, no, I would never. I don't want guns around me. I don't want a gun in my house. I don't know. No. I'm like, okay, well, hey, it must be nice for you wherever you live. But I'm like, it's right. It's on the dresser. It's right there. It's another one down there. Bitch, come and take it, ho. Like, I mean, it's just one of those things, bro. Like, I mean, I grew up in here in Houston. You're from the Houston area. We're from here, born and raised, and it's looking like the movie RoboCop with just the amount of just like corruption. Like pretty soon they're gonna probably need militarized fucking robo-dog police, and that's where they're leading us. Like, we probably don't want that, because then now the state has all the freaking power. We probably don't want that at all.
That actually segues perfectly into one of the articles I had pulled up for you. So in Maryland County announces curfew amid rising violent crime by armed and dangerous children.
Maryland County. Where is this? Baltimore? What city we looking at?
Good question. Prince George's County Police will enforce a curfew for 17-year-olds to fight the rising violent crime.
Are these little Republican kids? Is that what this is? Are these those crazy MAGA?
Oh, those crazy...
Is this militia white boys?
Those crazy private churchgoers?
Are these semi-fascist Baptist people?
1,000%, yeah. So, County Executive Angela also Brooks...
These are all the people with fathers in the home, right?
100%. Yeah, okay. Totally, yeah.
Right,
strong family unit, the whole thing.
Got it.
So she says... I lost my place.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Announced a curfew during a press conference on Monday. She said that it would be it would last at least 30 days as a quote cooling off period from the violent summer.
Democrat run?
100%. I mean, this is crazy, dude. Like, it's pure violent crimes, like robberies at gunpoint, carjackings. And these are all kids, 12, 13 to 17.
Crash dummies.
Yeah.
Everybody out there listening, man, stay strapped. Stay strapped. Don't be no anden bobeando. Bro, when we were in Old Town Chicago, in that neighborhood, right? I don't know if that's like equivalent to like Montrose in Houston. I don't know. Because Marisol was like, oh, this don't look like the Chicago I was told.
So it was like a hipsterish area?
It was just like, I'll put it to you like this. Cafes and stuff. I mean, you got a couple little homeless people and shit, but people crossing the street with both ear pods, staring at their phone. This is men and women, just in Chicago.
Oh, they're in Midtown, basically.
Midtown. Eesh, you gotta be careful. Houston Midtown. You gotta be careful. But anyway, what the fuck was my point?
You saw the cafes, people walking around, heads down, just like nothing's gonna happen, basically, right?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I guess I was saying stay strapped, right? And people no anden bobeando. Like, don't be at the red light all up on the car in front of you. You ain't got no wiggle room, and you just looking at your phone, and you ain't paying attention, bro. Like, they will carjack you with your baby in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I read another article this morning. There was I got to pull it up. Basically, there was this teacher who was the heiress of a tool tycoon. Mm-hmm. And
Ryobi? Just Miss Ryobi?
Bro, if it was Miss Ryobi, I'd have been even more upset.
You'd have left your woman, boy.
I would have been like, who needs some consoling right now? Because I will go be that person. Who needs a shoulder to cry? And I'll be that person. She was going out for a jog, I guess maybe, let's just say before she was going to go work.
What city is this, bro?
I'm going to pull it up. I think it was on the East Coast somewhere-ish. But dawn run, so like 4 or 5 a.m.
And she got robbed by a Republican. A semi-fascist.
Yes, a semi-fascist with a "Make America Great Again" hat.
He had he said, "This MAGA country."
Pulled up, hit her with the gun, put her in his SUV, and it was later found that her body was found in a creek.
Ain't that a bitch, bro?
And the guy was found. He had done a similar thing back in the year 2000, where he got another guy. This was a guy who he shoved in his trunk, took him to an ATM. Somehow he was able to like let somebody know, like him being like kidnapped. He got away. This guy's, I don't know how much time he served, if any. I think he just paid a huge ass fine, got out. And so they caught this guy on camera basically abducting her. And then later, like an hour later, they found him cleaning out the interior of his car and cleaning his clothes in a sink or like in some kind of hose. And one of the witnesses was the guy's brother too. So I don't know how that all kind of panned out. But this guy apparently was a crazy psycho perv that in his apartment complex would just like ask women for like, can I pay you for sex? And they would see him in his truck. When any woman passed by, he would just stay in his truck and just stare and watch all the women and see what they were doing, where they were going. So he was just a sick pervert.
Yeah, degenerate, yeah.
Yeah.
No, pues está cabrón, man. Rest in peace to that young lady.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a common theme, and I just feel like it's only getting ramped up.
Yeah.
Everything from, I mean, you saw how in the Summer of Love, everything's getting decriminalized. This perverse society is running rampant. You know, the state, what did the state do? When they started the lockdowns, the first thing they wanted to shut down was the churches. Because the commies want the state to be the church. That's what they do, bro. When Russia went through their shit, they turned all the beautiful churches in Russia. Russia used to be like booming with you know, just architecture and all kinds of stuff. They turned the churches into grain silos, storage, like whatever, anything, but y'all can't be coming together in a community praising the Lord. And we saw a couple nuns at the airport. And again, man, I'll be reading these books, right, about the gulags and all this.
Were they strapped too?
With the rosary?
Yeah.
Well, I saw these nuns, and I just thought to myself, they put them in the gulags too. They put them with the prostitutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, once the commies really get that momentum, and that's why it might sound crazy, but like a lot is on the line with these midterms, local elections, especially if there's going to be some shenanigans and some 2,000 mules or any type of situation, machines, mail-in, the dead people on the voter rolls, no signature, no ID.
That oh, by the way, this happened in Memphis. It was Memphis will find the body of a kidnapped heiress to hardware fortune.
That's a damn shame, bro. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, I tell Dawn, I was like, she always wants to go fishing and stuff by herself sometimes. And I'm like, let's not do that. Like, I'll go with you. I don't care to fish. I'll read, I'll research, I'll do something like that if I don't feel like fishing that day. But you're just not going to go to these fucking creeks and shit by yourself and big ass parks with no one else around.
Yeah, man. Like Pastor Young was saying, he goes on. Oh, okay, the construction people. I thought I had to get the fanny, move the receipts out the way, pull out the, you know what I'm saying, the baby Glock. Yeah, like those like he said at the end of that little part of that sermon, when he was like, they spending all this money on these bike trails, but you got all this crime. He's like, you got homeless people, flashers, pervs, rapists, just a bunch of weirdos on these bike trails. So he's like, yeah, they spend all that money to try to be green and all this, but you ain't got enough police force. You're disincentivizing the police. People, like, recruitment is low. You know what I mean? They're just getting demoralized and demonized.
Well, back to that article of in Maryland. Here's a statistic from there. The county has arrested 430 juveniles this year. I mean, we're in September, right? That's double from last year in 2021. Many of them have been violent crimes and carjackings. And it's crazy because they'll have parents that you get one warning. If you're a kid and you're out there past the curfew, and especially if you're caught doing something, get comfortable. Like, yeah,
I'm good.
Okay. And if the parent doesn't want to take the kid back, like some parents will basically say they either aren't willing to or can't, and they'll just give the kid up to social services right then and there. If they do take it back, then they have to pay like a babysitting fee to the county. So they have to pay whatever the fee is for the employee, whatever officer got the kid, had to process him. They have to pay like the benefits of that officer, basically almost like being off because they aren't out patrolling. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're babysitting this fucking juvenile that just got caught with doing a violent crime. So some parents will just be like, you know what? Just keep the kid, fucking, I can't deal with this. I
mean, I think about this a lot, man, because I try to make sure that I'm up on game with my parenting, right? I got 3 daughters, they span from 1-year-old to 14. And I think about that where I'm just kind of like, how do I arm them with the tools? And then my 14-year-old, she's in public school, right? She just started 9th grade. And I just try to stay on her, like, don't let them try to rewrite history and make you hate America, and don't be coming with that woke shit. No, Dad, I don't believe in all that stuff anyway. And it's such a crucial thing, like fathers, specifically, before we even talk about, obviously moms have a special role as well. Duh. They do most of the work.
Some might say the most important.
Some may say the nurturing nature of the women. I'm from the party that still believes women are women. And since when did biology become bigotry?
And don't listen to that weirdo Mark Zuckerberg.
Did he say that?
Yes,
that
dude.
Weirdo.
That weirdo Mark
He was
Zuckerberg.
in my office.
Kissing my ass.
Bopping. Yeah, Pastor Young. He said since when did biology become bigotry? But anyway, like what the statistics you're reading about parents. Can you imagine having to like where you end up at the point where you now having to give up your kid to social services? Like what'd you say, the cops or juvenile? They show up like, hey man, you know, this your kid. He's out. He's not supposed to be. They're doing whatever. It's like I always go back to this. It's like what could the father have? Was there a father?
Yeah.
First of all, was there even a father? And then how good of a job did he do? Like, what was he up to? You know what I'm saying? Were y'all having dinner together as a family? Like, did y'all, what was there turmoil? Like, I'd love to see what the social worker can dig up when they go do their investigation. Like, was the kid neglected? You know, what type of chaos? Like, was the mom on crack? Was the dad an alcoholic? Was, you know, it's like, I was listening to one of our old episodes. It was probably like a week or two, an episode or two ago, where I'm talking about like the arsenal that we have at our disposal. Like, what do you do to imprint and prepare and arm these kids to navigate in Harris County, Houston, Texas, with all this sexual depravity and perverse and the crime and the drugs? And like, you don't want your kid, you don't want to be that parent that's like, oh, I kind of like let them do whatever, and I don't really, you know, hey, they might have seen some shit on TikTok and I can't monitor.
They're just trying to be friends.
They're just, parents. Or they're kind of hands off. Okay, do you know if your kid is experimenting with pills and they done popped a pill before? And do you know if they're hooked on pills? Do you know if now they can't get a hold of the plug and now they buying some off-market pressed up in an apartment pill? They got a little bit of fentanyl in it. And now you sitting here crying, talking about, how did my baby die? I didn't know my baby was into pills. That might have been the first pill your baby ever took. And you can't monitor them 24/7. But from the time we started this episode, we're painting a picture just locally, specifically, of what's happening in our county. This is Texas. When people think Texas, they might think like, it depends, right? If you watch Hollywood, you're thinking we just riding horses and we're all in the country. Not everybody. And you might be thinking like, oh, that's a red state, so they're doing whatever red states do. It's a whole bunch of blue cities. All the big cities are blue. And it's not a bunch of MAGA people running around stealing your catalytic converter. You know what I mean? When somebody sets it off on the metro, on public transit, and now they on drugs, a lot of times that ain't MAGA.
Yeah.
You know, and I saw this a tweet from that dude, Scott Pressler, I think is his name, Scott Pressler. And he's like Republican, and he's always out there recruiting and signing up people to vote and shit. He was tweeting. He said when it comes to a mass shooter, you got to kill about 6 people, right? If I'm not mistaken, that was the statistic. He says if we convert these fentanyl deaths, and he was just breaking it down by either by country or by state or whatever. He's like, this is 143 mass shootings a day. Or whatever, you know, whatever he said. There's 86 depending on the count for that day. But like fentanyl sneaking in right up under our noses. They smuggle it in with the vegetables. I mean, it's coming in like crazy, and I just can't wait for the moment for Raza. Raza gonna be the last ones, like the brainwash, and it sounds like I'm picking on public school, but like. Brainwashed, blue city, inner city, Marxist, woke, lefty, wannabe socialist, raza, go around being offended by everything, about Gwen Stefani video. Those people, it's like pulling teeth. You could tell them, bro, how many illegal immigrants is too many? Like, is it 10 million? Is it 20 million? How many in a year have to come in and pour in for you to be like, okay, I'm taking notice? Like, 4.9 million obviously isn't enough because you keep saying, oh, it's been happening. It's the same. Nothing's changed. What's different? Nothing. All the variables, all the fentanyl, all the cartel, all the jihadists, nothing's changed.
I guess if you're listening to this show and you're like, oh, everything's pretty fucking good where I'm at, you're probably not. This isn't resonating with you, which I doubt that's the case. Let's be real. Like, shit's pretty crazy everywhere. But it's funny you mentioned Scott Pressler, because Inform with Anthony made a video, quick little Instagram video about him and what's going on with these elections, and I want to play it for you because I think it's pretty pertinent to what we're talking about.
In case you don't know who Scott Pressler is, he's probably the best organizer hardest working activist I know in the Republican Party. This guy has been full throttle since I even came into politics. This guy is amazing. And so when he issues a warning, you need to listen to what he has to say. And this is exactly what he said today, September 5th. I'm going to be honest with you, even though you're not going to like what I'm about to write. I don't think there will be a red wave this upcoming election. Maybe a trickle, except Arizona, Florida, Nevada. It isn't looking good. People tell me I would give up everything for this country. Those same people won't knock on doors or become election day workers. Unless voters do something, I see no wave. I have been saying the same thing over and over and over again. Republicans get complacent. They get very comfortable. They just assume that they're going to win. And then when I ask Republicans, are you registered to vote? Have you registered 3 other people to vote? Have you knocked on doors? Have you made phone calls, emails? Are you donating to any campaign? The answer is almost always, well, no, I'm waiting till election day to cast my vote. We are way behind. It's insane. You need to be active. You really do. You need to be active today. We're already behind. This is...
Well, hey, bro, I'm podcasting. I'm
exactly.
trying.
No, that's what dude, that's how I look at it. Honestly, I'm like, dude, we're doing our part by doing this. Because, everybody that listens, one is already they're ready to rumble. They're talking to their parents. They got people on the job sites, Sparky or whoever, they're red pilling listen to the podcast while they're doing their work. Like, this show is doing exactly what Anthony's talking about on a pretty large scale compared to your average voter.
And we do need help. So if you have a business and you want product placement, if you want your logo right here throughout the entire video, hit us up. Send us an email, redpilltamales@gmail.com. Of course, this show is kept alive and funded by the patrons. If you want to join the Patreon, hit us up, patreon.com/redpilltamales. Join the Discord. It's only $1 to join probably like the most poppinest chat room Discord conversation in the history of Discord conversations.
I will agree with it. I'll second that because it's probably the dopest, most fire chat room I've ever been a part of.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? From the car scenes to all the fucking crazy gifts and funny stuff to any of the fitness lifting ones. None of the forums and Discords have ever been as poppin' as the TIA one has.
Yeah, definitely feel the connection. It's like we bonding up in there.
It's pretty
I don't know what
special.
it's like to be in a gang and shit, but sometimes the feelings I get talking to the Thea in the Discord, it feels like I'm in a gang.
It does. It feels like the old gang I was in when I was cow tipping in the middle of a pasture.
Cow tipping in the middle of the pasture.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
We got to record that song. I need a clone. Somebody clone me so that while I'm doing family stuff, the other me could be in the studio catching up on work that I'm behind.
Well, you know what? We could probably do that at this point, or if not soon. But you're very anti transhumanism, and we'd have to clone you a couple of times. Honestly.
I need a sponsor. We need a sponsor. We need sponsors. Hit us up. redpilltamales@gmail.com. There's no reason why we shouldn't be sipping your product on camera right now.
Yeah, and if you want to set stipulations like Chingo must hold my product, he must drink and hold it the entire episode. We can do that.
I will hold it.
You will hold it.
It's all in the name of like spreading the word and keeping the conversation and the discourse. And one thing that I often think about as we're talking about all this, like what Anthony just said, he's like, bro, the Republicans, they get riled up because they crunk because they got a Trump flag in their house, or they watch Fox News or some shit, and they thinking that that's enough. Yeah. Or they listen to Red Pill Tamales and they crunk. We might have to get a little bit more active.
It was funny to actually hear that because well, let me just say this. So you had Brandon give his speech. Dark Brandon gave his speech. The next day, I think Trump was in the same area, right? And he had a big-ass rally with I don't know how many tens of thousands of people.
I think like 15,000 or so.
15,000 people, right?
At least.
So when I see that contrast, I think to myself, okay, this guy couldn't fill literally like a
high school gymnasium.
Exactly. The cafeteria. Fuck the gymnasium. He couldn't fill the cafeteria. He did another Labor Day special thing somewhere else.
Yeah, he hijacked some union rally.
And there was nobody there.
I mean, Trump, that was like the biggest flex when he's just like, bitch, I'm going to do a rally in your hometown, cuh. Yeah. I'm going to pull up.
So when I see these people at these big ass rallies, you've attended one of these. The one you attended was twice that size, wasn't it? It was
no.
huge.
The one I did, it was the one I was at, where I witnessed Trumpita speak. It was a Turning Point USA event.
Oh, okay.
It was like this big theater to the gills, and a lot of people outside couldn't get in. So that might have, I don't know how many, that might have been 5,000 people.
But even then, like, so when you attend one of those big events, I guess my point is, I look at it and I see all these enthusiastic people who probably are at the very least getting one, like their spouses to vote, right? They're getting one other person, maybe not three, but they're getting their spouse, which is one, and then they're posting stuff on their social medias probably. And I know this sounds kind of like old people talk, but that's what you got to do. Like, in order to get people who you want to do the things you want, you got to be active.
I'm just so amazed that so many people have not opened their eyes. Like, nothing has done it for them. It wasn't like hypocrisy. Let's just say you're from California. It wasn't like, what's with this Newsom guy trying to mask my children?
Yeah.
But he's spending 15 racks on wine at French Laundry with his homies and shit. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that didn't do it. Crime statistics in your town, right? You in this Maryland county, and you're seeing people act a fool. That doesn't do it. People burning up your city in Portland, that doesn't do it. Your kids coming home from college talking about they a frog pronoun, that doesn't do it. You see what they're teaching your kids in Zoom class. You're hearing all this critical race theory crap. That didn't do it. What is it going to take, especially for the young Mexican American, for the raza? And I just saw the clip. I think it was it James Klug? Did you see that one? Where he was on the man on the street, and he's like, "Do you have any Republican friends?" And everyone's like, "No, we stay away from those people." It's like, I go to NYU. Why would I want to hang with Republicans?
I overheard it while I was setting up, and I haven't seen it. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. But so, piggybacking off of that, you said what's going to get people to change their mind, right? What's going to get people to wake up? A new show that I like. So Chingo used to listen to The Daily. Is that the New York Times?
Yeah.
Right. So that was how you got your news every morning, right?
It was a habit. Yeah. It'd be one of those things would be like, oh, might as well tune in and see what they talking about.
Right. So I just came across the Daily Wire's version of this. Have you heard of the Morning Wire?
I think I heard one episode.
Okay, so I love it. I think it's great. It's 15-minute episodes every day. Kind of give you like Jack Posobiec. He does. I feel like Jack does the like in-depth like sources from internal like acronym boys agencies talking about XYZ. The Morning Wire kind of covers some of that stuff, but the reason I bring it up is because Sunday's episode, a look back at pandemic response, might get you to just be a little more active when you just not in a biased kind of partisan way, but in a nonpartisan way, hear it described about, you know, to sum it up, it wasn't bad messaging, it was just bad decisions all the way around. And now we're finding out that they were bad decisions. But because one side controls all of the media, they suppressed all of the information. So let's dig
big
into
tech
that.
as well.
Yeah, of course. And that's kind of the main thing. So, and the doctors, there's that meme of the doctors that were like, remember those two guys?
Yeah, I want to say they tried to say they were just chiropractors or something.
Oh, were they?
I can't remember, but yeah, I remember them going viral, and they got like what did they do? Lose their license?
I think they got completely deplatformed. Like their lives were fucking ruined, and now we find out they were right.
Yeah, and now they're saying like, oh, I think ivermectin kind of does help.
It's back on the list.
Yeah, now it's back on the list of treatments. A lot of I think it was it the federal government trying to make it hard for DeSantis to get mRNA treatments, or Texas, or I mean, it was just like everything. Yeah. And if you study like color revolutions and like the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks and all that, like I said earlier, they shut down the church first. And they were scaring people like, oh, people, you might catch it at church. Maybe you could do outside under a tent church, and people are dying. And look at the case numbers. CNN had the case number. Fear, division. Meanwhile, you could be at a BLM rally. You could be Antifa. You could be huddled up with all your friends. If Brandon wins, y'all could be all shoulder to shoulder in the street popping bottles. You know what I mean? Waving your purple hair. And it was just like the biggest debacle. And now the trippy thing is now the Democrats are making it seem like, oh, Republicans, they the ones that was locking y'all down, and they're anti-Constitution, and they're not for law and order. And then Brandon says, we shut down big pharma, and everyone's like, ah. And it's like, wait, did you mention one little thing about like insulin price or something? And you're trying to say you defeated big pharma? Not this year, because we defeated big pharma. Boy, you were cucking for big pharma. Y'all were bending over backwards. Like,
they were literally choking on jabs for 2 years. They're just guzzling, just gargling that fucking jab. I don't
And
want to do the movement, but
they
you know
still
it
got
is.
jab juice. They still got jab juice. They trying to pump y'all up.
They got jab juice and zoo aids. That's what we got for the past 2 years. Jab juice and zoo aids.
And a whole bunch of gaslighting. Like, the president is working hard to make sure gas price goes down.
You know, I don't know, did we talk about it, about how it's not necessarily that gas prices just went down, it's how everything that's happened has changed Americans' habits.
Yeah, it's artificial.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, people, because of the high gas price, people have started traveling less and picking and choosing where they're going to drive to, which basically makes the supply, makes the demand go down, which I guess allows for more supply, which makes the price go down slightly. So the only reason the price went down slightly is because we have had to adapt and adjust our lifestyle because of these goofies trying to be like Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, I'm going to play this clip because we talked about it just now, and I love your impression of KJP. It's one of the best. It's one of the best.
It's not like somebody walks over.
Oh, yeah, KJP.
Yeah.
She was like, he said, well, why are y'all forcing people to get vaxxed if you can just walk into the country and
Yeah.
not get vaxxed, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, that's not what's happening, Peter. And it's like, they literally walking through.
That's not how
Exactly what's happening.
we.
Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
I think, man,
So yeah, it's one of the funniest clips because you could just go find these montages of all of that happening, walking, people literally like Cuba, Venezuela. And if you're not following Jorge Ventura, please support that man. Please support him. And look at this fucking line once it's sped up. It's like, look at that shit just coming from the woodworks. And again, I'm not poking fun. I understand where you are sucks. You want to get somewhere where it doesn't suck, but we got to figure this shit out. And we also just can't deny that it's not happening. They're not just coming across.
that's not what's happening, Peter.
You silly Fox News guy.
First of all, I don't know how the Republicans got this phone number, but it's like, hi, this is Ron Johnson, and I'm 7 points down. Can you chip in $7 to save Wisconsin? Hi, it's Herschel Walker, your friend here. I'm reaching out. Friend, this is Dr. Oz. Hey, Nikki Haley here. These are all hi. What the fuck, Republicans? Jesus.
Well, you heard fucking Informant Anthony, man. We got to support these people.
Yeah. No, I'm
kidding.
I'm talking shit, but
You vote for one Republican or you do one event with any kind of conservative, they're like, okay, we got his number.
and then
blast it out there.
How easy is it to scam people? Where it's like,
so easy.
I'm just gonna send this phishing link, which I don't even know how those work, but like, say I'm just gonna be some dude in India, and I'm gonna send text messages saying like, "Hi, it's Herschel Walker. Can you send me $5 or whatever?" Just click this link.
The way Chingo said, like, those phishing things, I don't even know how those links work. I feel like you've been a victim of those before.
No, because I've heard of them, but it's kind of like you click a link and then what? What happens? Now you got software on your phone, or now they're copying what you type. Like what?
It could be a number of things, but I think the most simplest one is like they'll literally like, we need you to like PayPal us X amount for whatever. And then they send you to a link that literally takes you to Facebook or to PayPal, but it's been, coded with something where it just kind of gets your login information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's wild.
It's the Wild Wild West out there, y'all.
As we're wrapping up the podcast here for Wednesday's public episode, let me jump over to the Discord real quick and just see what these people have been talking about in our Straight Politics channel. We got an RPT Questions channel. Let's see what we got here. We got Lib Tweets. Biden backlash. Stevie Capone says, Biden received a ton of backlash last week for his divisive rhetoric and the demonic-like lighting during his address. I mean, if you were shooting a Star Wars film, that was the best scene lighting for Star Wars. With that being said, what kind of impact do you think it will have on Biden's already abysmal approval rating as well as Trump's increased support for Americans? Ironically, I keep hearing it's ticking up.
Well, Democrats are the ones in the cult. They're in the I hate Trump cult, I hate MAGA cult, or whatever, right? So there's literally, Brandon could literally say, the MAGAs are the new Jews for us. Like, he could literally say, these are the new Uyghurs, right? These are our Uyghurs. Like, I think somebody took his speech, and every time he said MAGA Republicans or MAGA, whatever, they put Jews in the place of it. So you could hear, like, if this was Germany back in the day, and you had this guy up there screaming, getting all neck veiny. Here's my question, bro. You know how we always sometimes try to look at the lens of like, how were these decisions made, like production wise, like whose job, like who's gonna get fired, who wrote the speech, who ran the teleprompter, who's like, I wish I was like a fly on the wall and just sat and observed, like, okay, Biden has a speech coming up. We're trying to ramp up for midterms. We have to turn this around on them. It has to be a referendum on extremism. We need to pick on this MAGA faction and how dangerous, quote unquote, they are, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, all right, how are we doing it? Let's do it in Philadelphia, Independence Hall, where they wrote the Constitution so that we can say that the Trumpers, the Trumpanzees, they're anti-Constitution and they want to turn back the hands of time and dictate who you love and can you use contraceptives. And like, I'm literally, like, when I hear that shit, I'm like, okay, who? Like, what did Marjorie Taylor Greene say? Like, where are you getting this from? Did Matt Gaetz say some shit? Like, what state? Who? Did Trump? Who said anything about, like, they trying to, I guess maybe somebody said, hey, we got to go ahead and look at this gay marriage stuff and we got to revisit some of these things. That's neither here nor there. My question is, like, who said, and we're going to shine it with red, and we're going to have the camera angle like this, and we're going to have the flag like that, and we're going to have two Marines like this, and Dr. Jill's going to walk him over, they give a kiss, she walks off, and now he's going to do the speech. Like, did they not do a mic check, sound check, light check? Did they not think this through?
This is how you know people suck at their jobs, right? Like, this is all just controlled by, even Rogan's tweet was like, or his Instagram post was, imagine thinking this was a good idea, right? So when you see that all, like you just described basically the production process of all of that, somebody had to check all those things off, right? Or is it maybe one person that checked it all off? I doubt it. There had to have been multiple people, the lighting, the camera, everything, right? And everyone thought it was a good idea and they ran with it. Yeah. So much so that CNN changed the colors of the lights during the live stream.
Yeah, fuchsia.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though CNN's trying to go more towards real news and it's pissing off the lefties, they're just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
This isn't Keith Olbermann and shit melting down. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They probably checked the lighting. They probably had a stand-in, right? Because it's like, we're not going to have the president out there checking.
One of his bots, you mean?
Yeah, like just have a stand-in. Like, hey, somebody that's old and pale, stand right there so we can check our lenses and our lighting and our angles. And somehow, some way, bro, this super divisive speech, this, I'd hate to say, might end up being iconic imagery.
Oh, totally.
Like, it's going to go down in his obituary of, this is the guy that was going to unify. This decency is on the ballot. This is who Latino Hollywood had their pom-poms out for. And y'all been real quiet. Eva Longoria, George Lopez, Leguizamo, all of Latino Hollywood. It's been crickets from the time y'all cashed them checks and rode off into the sunset. Y'all don't give a damn about none of the inflation, none of the gas price, none of the border, none of the fentanyl, none of the crime, none of the nothing. All the division, all this stuff this dude is ramping up. Like, he sounds like he's one step away of saying all the MAGA people go in the shower.
So
line up, we're going to put you in the shower.
Mark the calendar. September 6th, 9/6, not to be confused with J6.
Yeah.
The darkest day in history.
Since everything.
When 2024 rolls around, how many of those people do you want to bet are going to have their pom-poms out again?
It depends on them checks, man. The Democrats got bread and they going to grease the wheel. Somebody going to get paid. Them checks going to get cash and they probably going to pull out the pom-poms. Y'all saw, first of all, y'all seen George Lopez. Yo voy a votar por Newsom porque you can do what you want. Tú haz lo que tú quieras, yo voy a hacer lo que yo quiero because you're not going to recall my friend. I'm going to be in Fresno in the restaurant with my friend doing TikToks. Okay. Well, Newsom's running for president. You think all of a sudden George Lopez not going to be with his boy who's running for president, who's Mr. Hey, you know, don't go to Florida. Don't go to Texas. You know, the Texan dream died in Uvalde. And don't go to Florida where they have DeSantis, this dictator. Stay here in California, and we're going to California your America. Like, he's going to have his pom-poms out. Eva Longoria, they were so happy. Finally, a sigh of relief. America can breathe. Let us unite. Finally, the Democrats, our democracy won this evening. John Legend, all of these Common, all of these controlled opposition. They got the pom-poms and the cheerleader outfits ready. They can't wait. You know, that's my prediction.
I think you're probably right. Juan Big Stoner, back to our chat questions here. Can Chingo bring one of the books I gave him and drop some knowledge on next Wednesday's episode?
Yeah, I need to.
He really gave you books?
He gave me 4 books.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and one of them, he corrected me on the title because on an episode I had said the truth about socialism. It's the problem with socialism.
Okay.
These books are amazing. Some better than others, But, like, I mean, I can't wait for my 14-year-old to maybe get, like, a little bit more mature, but I want her to get more into reading so I could be like, hey, this is your first one. Like, I need a book report.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're here tonight, family reading time. I need you to knock out a chapter to get well-versed on how the commies work. Why do they come after the church? Why do they want to lock down the churches? Why do they want you to worship the state? A government that's so powerful that they can give you everything, they're powerful enough to take away everything.
Do you have your phone on you?
Simón,
Can you
no
open
sé.
the Discord and read Mom the Bomb on Fire's question or, paragraph?
Which room, brother?
It's in the RPT questions room.
Got it. Mom the Bomb?
Yeah.
Is it way at the bottom?
Yeah, it's one of the most recent ones.
Okay.
Just above Giovanni's GIF.
Okay, got it. Mom the Bomb on Fire. Hey, good morning. After your episode last week mentioning Oscar Blue and Anthony Guerra, I guess that's his name.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was something Aguayo or something. I went and found the video of the child you mentioned. I cannot get this out of my mind. Every day I pray for this child. I wish I could just pick up and go to the border to do something other than harass the Democrats here. Number 2, I am afraid for the elections upcoming 2022 and 2024. I fear the left and the World Economic Forum won't sit by and let us red wave. I have anxiety about more corruption and voting fraud. I pray for God to save our country. I could go on with more items, but I will stop here for today. Number 3, I also second what Stevie Capone said above. What were Biden's handlers thinking with that nut show? Compare this production to Biden's previous lackluster, depressing speeches about the State of the Union. Sticks out like a sore thumb. Your Chingo Rob TV postings are the meat and potatoes of my week. OTM, heart and soul. Guess OTM.
Keep reading. I'll have to look it
Okay.
up.
OTM, heart and soul supporter from the South, non-Spanish speaking Polak. Love you guys. Have a good day. Oh, this is my Polish people out here, boy.
What's up?
Hell yeah. Shout out to Poland. They know a lot. They know a lot about what happens with communism and socialism and that whole neck of the woods of the USSR and Ukraine and all of that. All right, so let's deconstruct some of that. She spoke about the child that was drugged and being rented and used as a prop. This is why Trump and the Trump administration, what's homeboy they had over there? Stephen Miller. Why the way they approached the border was obviously way more proactive and hands-on. They were separating the people that were bringing in children as possible props. Like, no, it's mi hijo, I swear, I promise. Papi, say the line, kid.
Yeah.
Say the line. Papi, that's my papi. No, we need to do DNA testing because they've understood the people that are trying to get in, they know how to work the system. They know what to say. They've been coached. You know what I mean? Make sure you rip off your wristband, you throw away your other paper, your other permiso, and you got to say this. You have to say you're escaping climate injustice and whatever else.
Yeah.
This is also happening in Europe. The European Union is going through it again. They really went through it in 2015, I believe. It's a ticking time bomb. Also, she went on to say, I'm afraid for the elections coming up and the left and the World Economic Forum aren't going to just let us have free and fair elections. Well, everybody keep an eye on Chile. So you just had a referendum on the left and these socialist things, right? So Chile was about to stand in the way of the wave of socialism rolling through South America, right? Because just because the Cold War ended, that don't mean all the commies went away. These commies have been active in Hollywood since the 40s. All this shit is documented. So what's going on in Chile is, I guess the conservative, the more right-wing person won because they see what's coming. And what did they do? Playbook, the radical left, the extremists. Bro, it looks like when Trump won.
What, mail-in ballots and all that?
I mean, no. It looks like, no, see, the conservative guy won. So what happened? Antifa. Antifa and your little like black bloc, the fist logo, just slap a name on it. It could be like indigenous rights or whatever, but it's like their version of BLM or defund la policía. It's the same shit. It's color revolution. It's all color revolution. I think, hold on one second. Mike Cernovich had tweeted something and I retweeted. Make sure y'all follow me. Yo, my Twitter follower is going up. It's going up every day. Every day I look, it's like 100 more people, 100 more people, 100 more people. Like some of these tweets have really, I mean, the Selena tweet, that got like thousands of retweets.
The videos have done pretty well too. Like just clips from the podcast on your Twitter.
Word.
Ton of views.
Word. Okay, good. Yeah. We got to keep hitting them with that. So Mike Cernovich had posted something and I think he said it's going to go down in history. And I said, oh, here it is. Mike Cernovich tweeted on September 3rd. He said, 2022 is the most important election in U.S. history. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. I said, and in color revolution history? Because that's what Mom Bomb on Fire, that's what she's talking about. She's like, I have a feeling they're not going to just let, it's going to be one of those with like, hold on, we're not done counting the ballots. Mm-hmm. They didn't it's probably going to be a repeat. If you're trying to be an election observer, they're not going to let you observe. It's going to be more of these pipe busts. It's going to be in the middle of the night. It's going to be more like the vans full of the ballots. I mean, people are going to have to be vigilant.
Like you said, heads on a swivel.
Yeah, big time. Number 3, she said, I second what Stevie Capone said above. What the hell were Biden's handlers thinking? This one seems so different than the State of the Union ones, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb. Man, I just feel like they're getting desperate.
Oh, yeah. They have nothing else. I mean, all they have is, I'm not Trump, you know? That's what they're running on. And also, as far as like her referencing, you know, the anxiety and all that of everything that's going on, that's a part of the plan too. Getting you feel like I'm backed up in a corner, like I don't know what to do, like getting you to like think unstably, I guess is the kind of simplest way to put it, is bad for you, your family, your community. You got to just like take a chill pill, breathe, and realize that there's like steps and processes to get all this done. But they're basically wanting people who are like Trump supporters to become these violent people they're trying to portray on TV.
Yeah, they're egging them on.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't fall for that.
No, of course not, right? They're the ones that get away with political violence.
Yeah.
And they get bailed out, and they don't even get not even a misdemeanor. There's a tweet I posted as well where it showed footage. It said, this is how it was when Trump won. I'm talking about spray paint, businesses, breaking windows, burning, looting. I mean, bro, we've been through so much since 2020 that maybe you don't really remember. I know I didn't recall. I was like, really, was it that bad? Let me watch. Obviously, it's like a compilation, so you're just watching. But I was tripping. I was like, holy shit, they behave that way when their chick didn't win? That's how y'all behave? Y'all get away with political violence and the hypocrisy, bro? Like, when will Latinos start to... I know right now it's like split evenly. And I know a lot of times too, like, what you see in the media is propaganda because a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are waking up. They just don't want you to see that. It takes somebody like Sav with one end to take a camera, or James Klug, or the other young gentleman who goes to Miami, South Beach. Hey, man, so Biden or Trump? Shh, what? Trump.
Oh, yeah, guys.
You know, all the hood people like, man, fuck Biden. All these hood people. It's like, you're going to be in the gulags with us. You're going to be in the re-education camps. And
well, at least we can all talk about past RPT episodes while we're in the gulag.
In the gulag, shooting dice and shit, getting swole, doing burpees and shit.
Well, hey, we got a lot of other things to talk about for this week. Where can everybody find you and where can everybody see you?
ChingoBling.com. I'm headed to Brea, California, September 14th. And then we do Oxnard, September 15th. After that, we have Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Addison, Salt Lake City, Vegas. Just a handful of cities. Do not miss out. I want to meet you guys. I love performing live. It's quite a rush. It's quite a thrill. There's nothing like, you know, if you follow us, if you watch us, if you listen, if you tune in, it's like we're coming in the flesh. So we would love for you to be there, and we appreciate it. Y'all be safe. Talk to you soon. Sas.